There was an inn in Oxenford, and in this inn there was a bar, and at this bar there was a stool, and on this stool there was a man, and on this man there was an arm, and on this arm there was a palm, and in this palm there was a glass, and in this glass there was a drink. 'Twas the drink of a Richard Stiller, yeah. 'Twas the finest rye of all. "Come, pluck a stool," he said to me, the first time I met him. He was a portly chap with a cane and a hat with a feather in its brim. "Aha, once more you don't confer with me of whom to admit," scoffed a drunken goose in a Homburg hat, whom on its hat did sit. "Ignore my graceless gander, boy, and pluck yourself a chair. This bottomless bottle of gin has sent him far from debonair." I found myself an easy chair, and brought it nigh this fellow, and when I took my spongy pew, the man sung in a bellow, "Do excuse my nuisance, goose, and now slip-strung his cord. I'll sharpish tell the governess to put him on the specials board." And with this the goose awoke, with his long neck in a knot, and when he went to scoff he quacked, just like the mallard lot. When Richard Stiller had leaned his glass against his bottom lip, the golden grain from down the lane turned from root to tip, to face old Dickie Stiller, yeah, as if the sun were he, with a golden glare so fine and fair that shone on the whole county. "Did someone let the duck in?" asked a voice from down below. "No, no, 'twas the drunken goose," said the golden-eyed fellow. And through the cellar's hatch door appeared a cow, with every step a creak, and on her head stood a field mouse, playing hide-and-seek. "I don't suppose you've seen the mouse?" asked this bovine governess. "I have searched this place from toe to brow, and I've had no success." "'Twas not I," said a buzzard, perched upon an oaken beam. He wore a bowler hat and a Walter's tie, and dined on a plum tureen. "I've not seen mouse," he solemnly swore. "But when you've a mo, I'd like dessert. And do please bring some serviette, should I spill some on my shirt." The governess stomped a hoof 3 times, when a bunny came from yonder where, with a toadstool cake, some toffee sauce, a serviette, and prayer. When Richard Stiller had sipped the swill, that golden rye so sweet, the buzzards that fly over fields of rye dropped field mice from their feet, and doffed to Mr. Stiller, yeah, as if the king were he, dominion of a Sabbath where the prey are left to be. Suddenly swooping, the ravenous bird sent Bunny into fear, who dropped the cake and spilled the sauce, when the cow, she said, "Oh dear, he was not going for you, my bunny. He's a soft one, worry not. Right, you bowsing ditherers, get cleaning whilst it's hot." So all the guests slurped up the mess, and the mouse slid down old Bovine's brow. And when that goose had had his share, he belched and said, "Meow." "I'm ever so sorry," said Mr. Stiller, on all fours like a quadruped. "Once I finish this toadstool crumb, I'll stand you a drink on my head." He whistled a tune, and from his mouth a pair of ladybirds flew, and as graceful as a candle's flame, a brace of butterflies too. They ascended past the topmost shelf, filled a crystal cup, placed it on the goose's hat, who untimely did hiccup, when Richard Stillard sipped that swill and sighed contentedly. The golden grain from down the lane were blown away from he. They were blown away by Stiller, yeah, as if the wind were he, sending gleanings over there, leaning towards the sea. Richard Stiller stood on his feet, with the goose stood on his hat, and on the hatted goose's upturned beak, "My drink," I asked, "What's that?" "Hee hee," said Bunny from Buzzard's hat. "That's the rye from down the lane. It's golden and done olden, and you know it's ancient grain." "It's true," said Mouse, sat on the bar. "It's a golden rye, I say, and if you put your ear inside that glass, you'll hear the grains a-sway." "Indeed," said Buzzard from his beam. "It is the spirit of the alchemist, and not just he, but of the earth, together in symbiosis." "That's right," said Cow, behind the bar. "There's 1,000 different grains there, sire, mixed with water and with fire. Then go the spirits and their desire." "Their desire," said Stiller upon his stool, "to inspirit you and I. So come, my boy, take your glass. 'Tis a double Oxford rye." When Richard Stiller let out a burp, the harvest moon she'd sing, and the farmer stirred, and the tractor purred, and the rye was all brought in and bestowed to Dickie Stiller, yeah, for in need was he of another glass and a chair for you and me.